Again, full disclosure, I haven't seen these guys in a very long time. Well, Malakai I've seen, Gage not so much. But beyond that, even when we signed up to do this particular event, you know, we didn't have a powwow about what questions I should ask. We didn't have any kind of conversation, simply because I wanted to make sure that the questions I ask of you are visceral, are raw, are uncut, are vivid, are brutally honest if necessary, right? And I figured because of, you know, things that you had gone through, and then you said, you know, you reached out to me and you said, you know, I want to speak on it. You know, like, when's the next conversation series back? I want to speak on it. And then not much longer than that, then, you know, Gage drops this video and it's very interesting. And even in conversations, the 1 or 2 conversations we had, I realized that something was up. And then the video kind of like gave more evidence to that. So at that point, I was just like, well, we should just all talk together. And I figured that if we talked together in front of a live audience, it would make more of a very interesting conversation as far as just like this story. So Gage, I'm gonna start with you. Yeah, so, you know, you dropped this video that did this part. Great video, great record. You know, I hear the artistic growth and everything. It's a little different. And it's a little different. And you know, like, people, you follow people on social media, and you know, we consciously or subconsciously put our lives on social media. And then, you know, you watch somebody's social media, and then after a while you've seen some changes and like something a little different. I don't see certain pictures anymore. I don't see certain declarations anymore. And at one point you were ghost. I don't even think you were on Instagram at one point. You were off that. And you know, you dropped this video, and yo, funny story, no lie, I literally saw the person that you were with yesterday on the train as I got off my stop. Yesterday. I'm getting off Church Avenue, I look, and there she is, waving hi, and it's cool, and I get off, and it's like, that's crazy, I'm interviewing David tomorrow. It's wild to me. Yeah, so, yeah, well, yes, that too. But you know, but yeah, that did its part. It's an amazing record, a lot of growth, but you're talking about some things on that you've been dealing with. So, what's up?
Well, thank you for having me out. It's been a crazy, I would say, 2.5 years for me, particularly as David Vera himself, not Gage.
Right.
You know, Gage has been doing a lot of crazy stuff, and Gage was caught up in a lot of things that he shouldn't have been in. And I learned not to be a victim anymore, and to sit there and try to act like everybody's doing things to me.
Right.
When I realized that I was doing things to myself. And I would say the best part about this 2 years that I've ever really realized is that when God tells you certain things not to do, He's not doing it to tell you what to do, and He's not asking you to do something for Him. He doesn't want something from you, He wants something for you. And if you're a parent, you will understand that when you tell your kids not to do something, you're not telling them not to do it because you just want to tell them what to do. You're telling them not to do it because you know what's best for them.
Right, you're kind of getting them in position.
Right, so you're trying to help them out to understand that. So to start off this whole situation, I have been addicted to porn for years.
Amen.
Since I was a kid. I mean, I grew up in a family with 8 brothers, 3 sisters, and all my brothers was older than me. I'm the youngest, and everybody was just wild. Where it was just that the more girls you had, the better you were. Even down to my own family. I was babysitted by an older woman at times that mishandled me. So I was actually, you know, I would say, taken advantage of from an older woman who was very promiscuous out there. So when we talk about soul ties and all that kind of stuff, it's real.
You might be asking how old were you when that happened?
And I was probably, I would probably, if we want to do a ballpark figure, 6, 7.
Gotcha.
This has happened to me from there, and then all of a sudden from there, the porn came in. So now, at that point in time, I'm addicted to porn. You know, running around with different girls. I'm not saying at 6 years old. I mean, let's be real. You know what I mean? I'm saying it's further on down the line when I get into high school now. I start, running around, the normal 20, 21-year-old
I got you.
after high school, and I'm running around, I'm on tour, I'm doing shows because I'm a Christian. I'm not a Christian rapper at the time.
Right.
So I'm rapping and I'm still going out there doing my thing and doing my thing into the world and running around, and I get into a relationship for 7 years, and then we broke up, and I lost it all at that point. And that's what brought me to Christ in December 31st, 1999.
Name of your first album.
That was the name of my first album.
Right.
So me coming to Christ now, I thought I had it all together. I'm figuring, okay, well, you check this out. Jesus saved me. All my stuff in the past is gone. I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
Sadly mistaken. I'm pretty sure every Christian in here knows better.
Yeah.
That's not the end. Okay, there's a lot of work to do. That was the beginning, actually.
Yes, sir.
So with that being said, I just started to do more of the church lingo things. I'm a good rapper, so I go into the church and I start doing records, and the church was kind of shunning me at first because they was figuring my stuff was too underground. Conquest, we dealt with that a lot.
Yep.
And I decided, okay, well, my second album, January 1st, 2000, I'm gonna cater to the church. So I knew exactly to do the church lingo. Mind you, I'm still addicted to porn.
Let's stop there for a second. So, yeah, because, all right, so at one point, around the time, I want to say right around the time you dropped Best Friend, like right around that January 1st, 2000 album, like, I feel like you were at the peak of your popularity. Like, I couldn't really find anybody who did not want to do a song with you. I couldn't find anybody who wouldn't want to come to a Gage affiliated show. Like, as far as our little small independent thing of ours in New York, you were on top at one point. And not just on top for the sake of being on top, but just like the respect, the reverence, the accolades, everything. People looked up to you. I looked up to you. We would have various conversations about stuff that I may or may not have been doing wrong, and just giving advice and just going back and forth. Meanwhile, you're dealing with this thing.
Yeah,
was there anybody around that time that you even gave an inkling?
And that's the problem. See, it's funny when you say you looked up to me, I looked up to me. And that's the problem. Because I was more caught up in the hype. I was caught up in the church accepting me because I knew what to say.
Right.
But I didn't have a relationship with Christ yet.
And I think that's very key. The church lingo, knowing what to say, having the catchphrases, appearing the part, looking the part, making music that caters to a certain community. You know what I'm saying?
I feel that anybody who has any kind of artistry in them and who's ever have been blessed with talent know how to just fit in.
Yep.
But I didn't have a relationship with Jesus until 2 years ago. And I've been saved since 99. So when he says in his word, get to know me, because I'm meek and my burden is light, we always skip the part, but we get to the part where I'm meek and burden and light, but we skip the part that he says, get to know me. See, because how could you serve somebody that you don't know? So, how could you even trust somebody that you don't know? So there was a lot of things that I just didn't know as a Christian, as far as, first of all, I didn't even know myself as a man, knowing that men and women experience intimacy differently. Men are visual, we're physical, women are more verbal, and and they want to hear things. So that's why they say, guys, you got the gift of gab, you pull the girl. Because women are more verbal, men are visual. So all this time, I'm sitting here looking at porn, seeing 1,000 girls. I become a Christian, and I feel, okay, well, I could just go from looking at 1,000 to just looking at one.
Right.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah, that switch don't go off like that.
It's just not going to happen.
So let me ask you this, too. There's a piece that you do. You often do it a cappella. I actually never heard it to music. And it's that piece that, if you follow Gage, you know it well. It's the one where you address the women and you address the men. If y'all know him, you know what joint I'm talking about. Powerful piece, right? Very convicting. In the moments that you did that piece, were you even convicted then with everything that was going on?
My first record that I ever came out with when I was convicted was Death Did Us Part. So let me just be clear. I was not convicted my whole entire career. 18 years in Christ, set free only 2. Talking it won't get you free, is up to what you do. Okay. That's what I said in that record. Yeah. So I'm saying to you that I was still battling masturbation. I was still battling porn. I was still battling my eyes. Me being a man, knowing that we're visual beings, I didn't understand why my eyes were like heat sensors. The minute somebody passes in the summer, it was just like phew, and it's just like you couldn't even control it.
Phew, phew, phew.
But I didn't understand that because I was feeding it. Whatever you know, you got to remember, anything that you do in life, you build. You build porn addictions, you build relationships, you build love, or you build hate. But everything is built. And I thought that I could just walk to an altar and say, I do, and be able to. But you can't. Everything, including being a husband, you have to learn. You have to be trained in. You can't just have your ability to look at anything you want to look at and then all of a sudden be able to just look at one and be satisfied. Variety never satisfies. It only fuels the desire. And that's what I said in the song. You know, you gotta starve it till you crave for one. So what I had to understand is God had to me to be able, those 2 years you didn't see me, God had to let me be able to be content with none so I could appreciate one.
You say that again.
I had to be content with none so I could appreciate one. So what that means is I don't watch rated R movies no more. I don't watch anything in the thing that has anything to do with any kind of explicit things. I do not want to see no naked bodies but one. Because see, we make that normal, even down to Christians. We speak about going to see rated R movies and you're seeing human beings, wives, some people's wives, and we're lusting after them with our eyes and not realizing that it's destroying your marriage just from that situation that you're looking at. And you don't realize it.
Right, especially if you're highly susceptible to it.
Of course.
Yeah.
And if you're a man, because men are visual. We don't realize that, but you know, I'm talking in here, and I know every man in here knows what I'm talking about. Women may not,
Preach.
but men know.
Preach.
So we got to stop ignoring the fact and get to know who you are and understand what things you should not bring into your home. And understand this, when I realized this, I realized how I was hurting myself. Like, I know what intimacy is now, and that's not, I want nothing but it right now. I don't want to be able to be seeing more than one of anything. I'm good with one. I mean, I said that on the interview, as crazy as it may sound. If you're a person that drinks, and you drink one drink, it always gets to your head, but if you get to 5 drinks, one don't do it for you no more. Think about it.
So let's put that on pause for a second. That's a good way to... Y'all liking the conversation so far?
Amen.
Okay, so let's stay with that. Hold on one second. Let me turn to my immediate left. So let me paint a picture for y'all, for those who don't know. So again, I've known Malakai for years. I can't remember the number. I've lost count, but it's been a while. I met him at Higher Calling. But whenever the first one was, that's how long I've known him.
You were the first one of all time.
Right. It was that too. Absolutely. Yeah, there you go. So I've known Malakai. So let me paint a picture for those who don't know his history. So I knew him, I met him, and I met Noah, and I met everybody he was affiliated with, including his kids and his wife at the time. Almost like astronomically and extremely quick, like Malakai just became the guy.
Yes, sir.
You know, Malakai just became one of those guys, and at some points, the guy, as far as just his ministry, his music, doing events, the accolades, the respect, his lyricism, his body of work, the way he was able to flip certain songs that used to belong to Jay and Ye and Riri and just made it one band, one sound. The times he ripped down Higher Calling, and then he ripped down Rap Fest, and he came through and ripped down Kingdom Choice Awards, and just building this fast and high ascent for him and his ministry, and the fact that I used to just see him around with his wife and kids in tow. Even the wife, you know, had a bar or two that she could spit as well. It was like, oh, this is just a rapping this family over here, you know? And just watching these guys ascend, I've never seen anything like it that close, you know? And we all know that, you know, Malakai has a transcendent gift. Just the way he would just walk into a room and then all of a sudden it's not rap no more, it's complete worship, it's complete, yo, I'm going over my time, we talking this talk, and the presence of God was in the room, and it was hard to get him out, and you didn't want him out because he was in the room. Like, this was Malakai. And in a lot of ways, it still is Malakai, right? So we're watching this. Now remember, going to, I want to say it was a Kingdom Generals event. And I remember that there was some weird things happening on his social media page, his Facebook. And it was just like certain things that just put me in pause as far as his marriage was concerned. And it just seemed like, okay, there's trouble there. And, you know, maybe the wife's not doing the right things. And some to that effect, so, you know, I pull him to the side, it's like, yo, everything good? Are we good? And it's like, yeah, you know, we're working this thing out. My wife is just not in a really great place right now. He seemed like he had it under control. And if there was a deep hurt there, that he was on top of it, he was blameless, he was, you know what I'm saying, like, this is hella disappointing, but I'm good. I'm good. But it just continued. It just started to spill all over social media. All these weird cryptic messages, everything just started just being left. And then I had a conversation with his wife at the time. It was a lot. And it just, like the way she was describing it at the time, I was like, is this the same guy? It does not sound like the same guy. You know, near drownings, police being called in, arrests, shelters, psychiatric wards. What's going on? And it's like, this picture just didn't look right. And then, you know, there's more information, but I don't want to drop the details. I'm gonna let him drop the details. But it was just all bad. This marriage was burning up in fiery flames. It was all bad. To the point where at one point, and maybe because I didn't advertise it, there's no need. You know, at one point, Malakai had to stay with me for about maybe a couple of weeks. Yep. I just moved into an apartment. I didn't even have all my furniture in there yet. And at one point, it was looking like he was going to be in the shelter. And I'm like, dude, you're not in the shelter. I'm your friend. You can stay here. You want to sleep on the carpet and the wood floor? That's good. I just don't want you in the shelter. And he stayed there for a while as he and his wife at the time was trying to repair their marriage, trying to get it back, because Malakai had fallen so far off the wagon when it came to that in ways that just was unfathomable in my mind. But they looked like they were getting back together. Things worked out. I spoke to the wife and she was like, you know, we're gonna make this work. And I was like, we're gonna make this work. And then all of a sudden the cryptic messages went away and everything was lovey-dovey and we're gonna get this back on and, you know, we back. And then it got worse again, maybe even worse than before. And all I'm hearing is rumors, stories, because certain things was happening. Now, another full disclosure, I'm working with Malakai during the times when these two things happened. In the same place. We both worked at the Y. We both worked at this place. I still work there, this place called Kids Creative, and things was happening that ain't supposed to be happening. And at this point, it's pretty much over. It's done. And I'm speaking to the wife and I'm hearing things again that's just like not good, you know? And, you know, as a friend, you're like, what do you say? What do you do? How do you help? How do you pray? And I'm talking to Malakai, he's giving and at this point I think he's coming to a realization himself about what's going on. And, you know, I think for the outside looking in for people who know you or know of you, you know, when you see somebody putting up stuff that relates to domestic violence and domestic abuse and all these other things that's being put out there into the world, and it's just these weird, you know, flares in the air, like, yo, we going to hell with this thing right now, it's bad. Then it's like, what's up? So, let's talk about that time.
Said a lot. Man, the mic is loud. Bring it down. I'm a preacher. Bring it down. I know how to preach. You said a lot. Sitting there listening to you speak, in the beginning you went through all these accolades of how I had this great ascension and I was this guy and I was that guy and I won this award and I shut this down and shut that down. It's funny. I've always wanted to be the guy that was accepted.
Same here. I feel it.
Coming into ministry at 15, 16, I've been doing this for half my life. I'm 30, I just turned 30. And I've been doing this since I was 15. Rapping out here. And when I came into this thing, I came in standing next to the two nicest rappers ever. And I say this, and anytime an interview I go through, or anytime I talk to, and any people I talk about, when you see me with the same set.
Mm-hmm.
Noah, the governor, and my man Donald.
Right.
These are the two nicest dudes you ever met. I put them against anybody as lyricists, as songwriters, as conceptualizers, as artists, as ministers of the gospel. I put them against anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing is, I was the guy in the group. Anybody watch wrestling?
Yep.
That's me. I was the Jeff Hardy in the group.
Swanton
And
bomb.
not necessarily in popularity, but he just was all over the place. Like,
Yes,
you don't
that-
need to jump off that ladder, Ty.
Yeah.
You don't need to. You don't need to jump on. Like, you don't need to step on that pew, bro. We just got here. Like, I was that dude, and I felt like I needed to do something to stand out, to be noticed, because I was standing next to these two juggernauts. And I say that all to say is that even in the time that I was ascending, I wasn't ascending. I was questioning, like, dang, I gotta rap against Chris. Elijah Miguel, Conquest. What you doing? Like, these dudes got albums out. Nobody know me. I'm from Harlem.
So that was your perception about the outside world,
Like,
a different perception.
Right, exactly. And you don't know, like, battling my upbringing and things that I haven't dealt with, traumas that I've never dealt with. When you see me minister, that's my time with God. That's my ability. That's my time where it's like, I'm on stage for this 15 minutes, and you're gonna get, and me and God we gonna Joseph this thing.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna wrestle.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not gonna stop till you bless me, but I didn't know I was blessing others.
Mm-hmm.
Never realized it. Didn't realize it. And it got to the point where I did realize it when I did Rap Fest back to back. That's when the ego started. Because I did Rap Fest 11, and then they called me back at Rap Fest 12.
Yep.
And I was like, ain't nobody do Rap Fest back to back.
I'm the man out here.
Hold up. Ain't nobody do Rap Fest back to back.
Back to back.
Yeah.
I hear that.
You know what I'm saying? And I was at a place where I always cared about, are they gonna go ooh and ah to my bars like they do in Noah? Are they gonna get my style? I don't rap like everybody else. God don't give it to me like everybody else. I got a peculiar anointing. I look different. Are they looking at me because I'm like the Crondon of Christian hip hop? Anybody that know underground, strong arm steady? Are they looking at me like that?
Ali,
Right.
that type of thing. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Are they looking at me like that? Or real Christian hip hop heads, are they looking at me as like the New York Deshaun, the golden child? He from V.A., shout out to him. You know what I'm saying? Are you really respecting me as an artist and as a minister? Or am I like the novelty act? Let me put him out there. Give him an opportunity. Or he just warm it up till I get out there.
Oh, wow.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I didn't have the confidence in my artistry. I didn't have a confidence in my ministry. I didn't have confidence at all. I lacked confidence altogether. And on stage and in interactions with others, that was the facade. Because Ty Kim was broken. Malakai the Truth was the alter ego. So when you see me on stage, I'm Malakai. I'm nice. That's Malakai. That's the one I created. Because if you really got to meet Ty Kim is sitting in his room, writing in his book. Ty Kim is by himself. Ty Kim ain't talking to nobody. Ty Kim is like A Boogie from Paid in Full. Don't nobody know my business. Don't nobody know nothing I'm going through. Don't nobody know what I'm thinking. I'm in the room and you don't even know I'm in the room. You say I walk in the room and I gained all that. No, Malakai walks in the room and gains all that. Ty sits in the back of the corner and just watches and surveys and hopes nobody sees him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, you take that, that's one aspect. Then we get to the marriage. A marriage is a union between people and God.
Right.
A marriage is something that you make a commitment to someone else and you take vows. And you take vows with the understanding that you both are going to uphold both of them. That it's going to be genuine, that it's not going to be for show. And it was that in the beginning. It was that.
When did it change?
The marriage. It was that. It changed when we upheld the golden rule for everyone else, but we never prayed together. How do we have a marriage when we don't pray together?
Amen.
How do we have a marriage when we don't communicate? How do we have a marriage when everybody else is in our business? And everybody else meaning my friend, our immediate friends.
Yeah.
How do we have a marriage when there's no trust? Some self-inflicted. I take responsibility for that. And some of it because it wasn't there because there's traumas on both sides that were never dealt with. So therefore, like Gage, if I'm exposed to pornography, to womanizing, to this all my life, that's all I see. I got uncles that, listen, we got that game. We got that game over here, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
And I say it like that because that's how I was raised, but other people look at me like, dang, how you can talk like that? Because that's the mindset I was raised in. Like, listen, you got it. Go get it, son.
Talking from an early age.
Right.
All
You know what I mean?
praises.
And so, when God is not in the marriage, it falls. Plain and simple. Now, if you want to dig deeper, they say the gifts of God are given without repentance. So when we come together and we're on stages, or we're out feeding the homeless, or we're ministering to other people, or we're counseling other people,